Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. From today we are going to start with the new chapter, and the topic of this chapter is control of respiration. In this chapter we are going to learn how the respiratory signals are generated by the respiratory control centers present in the brain, and we are also going to study the different factors that can modify the respiratory activity. The nervous system is basically responsible for generating and controlling and regulating the respiratory activity, and the nervous system adjusts the respiratory activity according to the demands of the body. Remember that respiration, it is an automatic process, that is, it is not under our conscious control. We are not controlling our respiration consciously, and automatically when there is an increased demand, there is a change in the respiratory activity. Although we say that it is an automatic process which is not under our conscious control, even though it has a little bit of voluntary control, and the voluntary control of the respiration, it is exerted, it is mediated through the cerebral cortex. An example of the voluntary control of the respiration is that we can voluntarily hyperventilate, or we can hold our breath for a short period of time. So although the voluntary control of respiration is there, but it is not a complete control, and we cannot exert or mediate it for a long period of time. So we can only control our respiration voluntarily only for a short period of time. Hyperventilation or holding of breath, it is only for a short period of time. Now there are different factors that during which the respiratory activity is modified. Like respiratory activity is modified during laughing, or when we are talking. Activity is also modified during singing, whistling, blowing, etc. Similarly, respiration is inhibited when we are swallowing. So basically the goal of this chapter is to see all these processes, all these factors in detail, how the respiratory signals are generated, and how is the respiratory activity modified during different activities. So this is the basic scheme by which the respiration is controlled. So we have our respiratory control center present in the brain stem. This is for the automatic control of respiration. Now brain stem is the part of brain which has three components. It has midbrain, medulla oblongata, and the pons. Respiratory center is present in the medulla and in the pons. So these are for the automatic control of the respiration. Now these respiratory centers in the brain stem, these generate the signals, and these signals are carried through the nerves to the effectors. And effectors in this case we know are the respiratory muscles. Now this respiratory control center, it changes its activity, it modifies its activity in response to various signals coming to it. Now these signals are coming to it from various sensors, which are the different type of receptors that sense the changes in the chemical composition of the blood, or there are the receptors which detect the mechanical changes. So these receptors, they send signals to the respiratory center, and in response to the signals from these sensors, the respiratory control centers are modified in their activity. And different sensors can be the peripheral chemoreceptors or the central chemoreceptors, and there are different types of mechanoreceptors present in the lungs. So this is the basic scheme or basic way or the mechanism by which the respiratory activity is controlled. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about the respiratory control centers which is present in the main brain stem. and we are going to learn about the location and the components of the respiratory center, and we are going to learn the functions of the different components of the respiratory center. So respiratory center, it is responsible to generate the respiratory signals. It is present in the brainstem. As I just told you that the respiratory center is present in the pons and in the medulla. Now this respiratory center, it has four components: the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, the ventral respiratory group of neurons, a pneumotaxic center, and apneustic center. So four groups of neurons are there. The first two groups of neurons are present in the medulla and are also known as medullary centers. So two groups of neurons are present in the medulla: the dorsal respiratory group of neurons and the ventral respiratory group of neurons, while the third and the fourth group of neurons are present in the pons, the pneumotaxic center and the apneustic center. So these are also known as pontine centers. So in respiratory center, two basic groups are there. The medullary group of neurons, which are further two, dorsal and the ventral, and the pontine neurons are there again, which are further divided into two groups, the pneumotaxic and the apneustic center. Now in this diagram we can see the all four groups of neurons which constitute the respiratory center. And here we can see this is the brainstem, these are the pons, and this is medulla, and we can see the two centers in the pons and two centers in the medulla. So these are the pontine centers, the pneumotaxic center and the apneustic center, and these are the medullary respiratory group of neurons. Again there are two, the dorsal respiratory group of neuron and the ventral respiratory group of neuron. So pontine centers are there and medullary centers are there, and together these form the respiratory control centers which are present in the brainstem. Now we are going to discuss all of these components of the respiratory center one by one. First of all, we are going to talk about the dorsal respiratory group of neurons. Now dorsal respiratory group of neurons, they are the most important and they have the fundamental role in the control of respiration. These neurons are present in the dorsal portion of the medulla oblongata, or we can say that these are present beneath the dorsal surface of the medulla. The neurons of this group are located in a nucleus which is known as nucleus of Tractus solitarius. I am repeating that the neurons of the dorsal respiratory group are present in a nucleus which is known as nucleus of Tractus solitarius. So mainly the neurons are present in the nucleus of Tractus solitarius, but some additional neurons are also present in the reticular substance of medulla. Now when these neurons are stimulated, they result in inspiration. So we can say that the dorsal respiratory group of neuron, it mainly contains the inspiratory neurons, or which are also known as eye neurons. Now coming to the functions of the dorsal respiratory group. Now dorsal respiratory group is responsible to generate the basic rhythm of respiration. Now this basic rhythm of respiration is known as the inspiratory ramp signal. The basic rhythm of respiration is generated in the dorsal respiratory group, and this basic rhythm basically it is an inspiratory signal which is known as inspiratory ramp signal, and this inspiratory ramp signal is produced by the inspiratory or the eye neurons present in the nucleus of tractus solitarius. Now, what is the mechanism, or we can say how the neurons in the nucleus of tractus solitarius generate the inspiratory signals? Now, it is believed that the neurons in the dorsal respiratory group, they emit repetitive bursts of action potentials. These action potentials are produced spontaneously, and these are inspiratory signals which are transmitted to the inspiratory muscles. Now, these signals, they begin weakly. That is, initially the strength of signals is not much, they are weak signals, but gradually the strength of the signals increases steadily in a ramp-like manner. And the duration of the inspiratory signals is about 2 seconds. Since the signal begins weakly and then steadily there is increase in the strength of the signal in a ramp-like manner, because of this steady increase, this is known as inspiratory ramp signal. Now, after about 2 seconds, the inspiratory ramp signal, it ceases abruptly. It ceases abruptly for the next 3 seconds. Now, when the inspiratory ramp signals, it ceases, there is relaxation of the inspiratory muscles, and the elastic recoil of the lungs will occur. This will result in expiration. So, the duration of inspiration is 2 seconds. It is caused by the inspiratory ramp signals, and the duration of expiration is 3 seconds. And during expiration, in quiet breathing, no nerve signal is generated. Due to cessation of the ramp signal, which is the inspiratory ramp signal, there is relaxation of the inspiratory muscles, and this will be followed by the elastic recoil of the lungs, which will cause expiration to occur. Now, what is the significance of this ramp signal? Why is it so that there is a steady increase in the strength of the signal? Now, due to this steady increase in the strength of the signal, there is a steady increase in the lung volume. So, when you inhale, when we inspire, the lung volume increases steadily. Instead of having an abrupt inspiration and expiration, we have a rhythmical pattern of inspiration. There is a steady increase in the lung volume during inspiration, and when there is cessation of the ramp signal, the relaxation will cause a decrease in the lung volume, because expiration will cause the expulsion of the air from the lungs. So, significance of ramp signal is to cause a steady increase in lung volume instead of an abrupt inspiration and expiration. Now, this diagram shows us the inspiratory ramp signal. This is it. This is the inspiratory ramp signal. This pink area shows us the inspiration, and this gray area is the expiration. You can see that inspiratory signal, it is not an abrupt signal. Instead, the signal, it starts as a weak one, and then gradually the strength of the signal increases. And the total duration of this inspiratory ramp signal is 2 seconds. And during these 2 seconds, when there is this inspiratory ramp signal is generated, it will cause the inspiratory muscles to contract and inspiration will occur. Then there is an abrupt cessation of this inspiratory ramp signal. It will switch off, and no nerve signal will be generated and transmitted to the inspiratory muscles. So, this will be followed by, this will result in expiration. And we can see that during period of expiration, no nerve signal is generated. This is for the quiet breathing. And then the duration of this expiration is 3 seconds. For 3 seconds, there is no nerve signal. And then after 3 seconds, again, a new ramp signal is generated to cause a new inspiration and a new respiratory cycle is going to begin. In the upper part again, this is the ramp signal showing us that it begins as a weak signal and it's increased steadily in its strength, and then it ceases abruptly. And this part of the diagram shows us an increase and decrease in the volume of the lung, and in case of quiet breathing, this is the tidal volume. So during inspiration there is increase in the lung volume, and when there is cessation of inspiratory signals, expiration begins and there is a decrease in the lung volume. And with the new inspiratory signal, a new respiratory cycle is being started. Now this is the summary of what happens to cause inspiration, the mechanism or the sequence of events which results in inspiration. So basically the rhythm is generated by the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, which are the inspiratory neurons. Now many studies suggest, and it is now generally believed, that the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, they are not themselves the generators of the inspiratory signal. Instead, in adjacent area there is another group of neurons which is called as pre-Botzinger's complex, which has the pacemaker activity. As you have seen the pacemaker activity in the SA nodal cells in the heart. So the pre-Botzinger complex, these are the neurons which spontaneously discharge. They are excited automatically, and then they send signals to the dorsal respiratory group of neurons to cause their excitation as well. Since these neurons are not mentioned in the Guyton, which is your reference book, which is your textbook rather, so you can just say that the basic rhythm of respiratory signals, which are the inspiratory signals, is generated in the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, which has the inspiratory neurons. And these inspiratory signals, they are in form of bursts of action potential, and these leads to the contraction of the inspiratory muscles, and this will result in inspiration. And when there is firing of these neurons is stopped, this will result in passive expiration. So this was about the dorsal respiratory group of neuron. Now we are going to talk about the ventral respiratory group of neurons, which is the other group of neurons present in the medulla. The ventral respiratory group of neurons is present 5 mm anterior and lateral to the dorsal respiratory group of neurons. Now the neurons of the ventral respiratory group are mainly present in nucleus ambiguous and nucleus retroambiguous. Now this group of neurons, it has inspiratory neurons as well as expiratory neurons. So it contributes to both inspiration and expiration. Again I am repeating that ventral respiratory group of neurons, which is present 5 mm anterior and lateral to the dorsal respiratory group, and neurons are located in the nucleus ambiguous and retroambiguous, and this group of respiratory neurons, it has inspiratory as well as expiratory neurons and contributes to both inspiration and expiration. Now what are the functions of the ventral respiratory group of neurons? You must remember, this is very important, that neurons of the ventral respiratory group do not play any role during quiet breathing, which is the breathing at rest. So in quiet breathing, the ventral respiratory group remains inactive. The ventral respiratory group of neurons is activated when there is a demand for increased pulmonary ventilation. And the increased demand for pulmonary ventilation is seen in the condition like exercise. So when someone is exercising, the demands of the body are increased. There is a demand for increased pulmonary ventilation, and in this situation the dorsal respiratory group of neuron alone is not capable of regulating the respiration. So in this situation the signals will spill over to the ventral respiratory group of neurons as well. Means that there will be excitation of the ventral respiratory group of neurons, and once these cells are activated they will contribute to both inspiration and expiration. And we also know that when there is increased pulmonary ventilation or when there is forceful breathing such as during exercise, expiration also becomes an active process involving the contraction of muscles. So activation or excitation of the ventral respiratory group of neuron will not only cause the contraction of the muscles of inspiration, but it will also send signals to the expiratory muscles, especially the abdominal muscles, to help in expiration during forceful breathing. Now coming to the pontine centers. There are two areas, there are two components present in the pons, the pneumotaxic center and the apneustic center. First we are going to talk about the pneumotaxic center. Pneumotaxic center is present in the upper part of the pons, and neurons are mainly located in the nucleus parabrachialis. Now the function of this group of neurons is to control the rate of respiration. The function of these neurons is to control the rate of respiration. Now the rate of respiration is basically controlled by controlling the ramp signals. Now there are two ways by which the ramp signals can be controlled. Either the rate of increase in the ramp signals can be controlled, or there can be the control of the limiting point at which the ramp signal suddenly ceases. So this is the usual method by which the ramp signal is controlled. That is, the pneumotaxic center, which functions to control the rate of respiration, it basically does this function by controlling the switch off point of the inspiratory ramp signal. That the point where it is going to be ceased, that is called as switch off point. So by controlling the switch off point, it is going to control the rate of respiration. Now if there is a strong signal from the pneumotaxic center, this will cause early cessation of the ramp signal. I am repeating that the function of pneumotaxic center is to control the rate of respiration, and it performs this function by controlling the switch off point of the inspiratory ramp signal. If the signal from the pneumotaxic center to the dorsal respiratory group of neuron is a strong signal, it will cease the ramp signal earlier. Earlier cessation of the ramp signal will cause an increase in the rate of respiration. And if a weak signal is sent from the pneumotaxic center to the dorsal respiratory group of neuron, it will prolong the inspiratory ramp signal, and prolongation of the inspiratory ramp signal will decrease the rate of respiration. Now this diagram shows us, basically this is a flow chart which shows us how does pneumotaxic center controls the rate of respiration. So we have different areas in the respiratory center. the dorsal respiratory group of neurons present in the medulla, the ventral respiratory group of neurons present in the medulla. Dorsal respiratory group of neurons is involved in quiet breathing. Ventral respiratory group of neurons is activated when breathing becomes forceful, such as during exercise. Now, rate of respiration is controlled by the pneumotaxic center. Now, nerve impulses from the pneumotaxic centers, they will go to the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, and it will control the switch off point of the inspiratory ramp signal. If there is a strong signal from the pneumotaxic area, this will cause the ramp signal to cease earlier, and this will result in an increased rate of respiration. And if the signal from the pneumotaxic center to dorsal respiratory group is a weak signal, this will prolong the inspiratory ramp signal, because switch off point will be delayed, and prolongation of the inspiratory ramp signal will result in decrease in the rate of respiration. So that's how pneumotaxic center is going to perform its function. Now coming to the apneustic center. Apneustic center is present in the pons. Now, apneustic center does not perform any function in normal control of breathing. It is not activated in normal control of breathing. It is activated under some abnormal conditions. The neurons in the apneustic center are excited in abnormal condition, like in certain type of brain damage. This can become activated. Now, apneustic center, when it is activated, it prevents the inspiratory neurons from being switched off. So, if inspiratory neurons are not switched off, this will cause a prolonged inspiration, which is followed by a short expiration. And this particular type of breathing, in which inspiration is prolonged and is followed by short expiration, this is known as apneusis. So apneustic center, when it is excited, it will result in apneusis. So in this diagram we can see the centers present in the respiratory centers present in the brain. This is the pneumotaxic center. This is the apneustic center. This is the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, and this is the ventral respiratory group of neurons. Under normal conditions, this apneustic center is not activated. Instead, it is being inhibited by the signals from the pneumotaxic center. But under abnormal conditions, such as when there is brain damage, this apneustic center is excited. It is activated, and impulses from these neurons will cause a prolonged activation of the inspiratory neurons present in the medulla, which are the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, and this will result in prolonged inspiration, which is followed by a short expiration, and this particular type of breathing pattern is known as apneusis. So this is a summary of what we have learned today. We learned about the respiratory control centers present in the brain stem. We have studied about the four centers, the pneumotaxic center and the apneustic centers present in the pons, and the dorsal and the ventral respiratory group of neurons present in the medulla. The basic rhythm of respiration is generated in the dorsal respiratory group, and during quiet breathing, only dorsal respiratory group is activated, and it sends signals to the inspiratory muscles, which are your diaphragm and external intercostal muscles, and this results in inspiration. But during forceful breathing, the excitation it spreads from the dorsal respiratory group to the ventral respiratory group, So the neurons in the ventral respiratory group are activated when there is increased pulmonary ventilation, such as during exercise. Now, the signals from the ventral respiratory group not only cause excitation of the inspiratory muscles, but the signals are also sent to the expiratory muscles like the internal intercostal muscles and the abdominal muscles. So it contributes to both inspiration and expiration. Now, pneumotaxic center, it functions to control the rate of respiration by controlling the activity of dorsal respiratory group of neurons. And in normal circumstances, the pneumotaxic center, it keeps the apneustic center inhibited, and it is not active in normal breathing. It is activated when there is some form of brain damage. In certain type of brain damage, it may be activated, and when it is excited, it sends signals to the dorsal respiratory group to cause a prolongation of the inspiratory ramp signal, causing a prolonged inspiration followed by a short expiration, which is known as apneusis. So that's all for today. I hope you understand the lecture, and if you have any query, you are free to ask questions. Thank you so much.